friends, we are heading out to do a July garden tour. Well, the 1st of July. And I already did this video and it got too long, so I'm going to shorten it. So we'll go around, we'll start in the front, and we'll get this party started. So I'm going to turn you right around, and yeah, let's get rolling. First of all, look at our Hummer. Oh, landed there. But here is the entrance garden tour. So hopefully this is going to work out. I'm testing the external mic for this new camera that I'm learning. Look at this. I got to get that planted. So this is my bi-weekly garden tour to show you how the garden changes. I was able to spend at least a whole day out here this weekend getting some areas cleaned up. But we'll start here with, look at this Tequila Supreme Rose. This is amazing because this section of the garden maybe gets 3 to 4 hours of direct sun, and these roses do beautifully. Now I had 4 roses in here. One was eaten to a nub by gophers. I have it in a pot. It regrew roots. That's how I save them. Dig them up, pot them up, let them get more roots. But you see this one right here is much smaller than the one we just saw. And then this one down here. And all I can imagine, looks like I need to tie up some of those, are flopping down, is the gophers have been in this area. And yeah, I think this is where that rose I dug up was. And I think it must be nibbling on this one. I stepped in here and I, went down far, so I know the gophers are in here. So I am trying the castor oil and soap to deter them, and it seems to be working. I hesitated with it because I heard or read that the worms don't like it, but I'm desperate. They are bad this year. So the worms will recover, and they'll be fine in areas that I don't spray it. But yeah, so far it's working. Look at the Salvia nemorosa. This is Meadowland Sage. Bee magnet. It's blooming a lot longer this year, and I have to think that it's from the cooler temperatures we've been enjoying. So my artist garden, this is my purple and orange garden bed, and yeah, it's doing great. I did cut back some of the Nepeta. This Gaillardia is new this year. I planted it in here in the fall, transplanted it from another area. Doing beautifully. I planted it in here because it just blooms and blooms and blooms all summer. Thought it would be a great one. In here, this Totally Tangerine Jam bloomed tremendously in the spring, and now it is reblooming after I had cut it back. So that's a winner in this garden bed. I want to put some of the Bushy Boy Veronica in here. I'll show you that one in a minute, because it just blooms for me tremendously. So far, gophers have left it alone, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm trying to incorporate more flowers that the gophers don't seem to like. But you never know, sometimes they change. Now, I love these Rebecca's in here. I let them go ahead and come up, even though they're not in the color scheme, because I thought maybe they were a seedling of this double. Look at this thing. I got to get in here and stake it up. But isn't that thing just so fluffy? Yeah, I love that thing. Anyways, this is an area that still needs a work. I have pulled this hardy geranium out. This was supposed to be Johnson's Blue, but Johnson's Blue is supposed to be sterile. This thing reseeds like crazy. I cannot seem to kill it out of this bed, so I let it bloom. But you see all those seed heads? I got to cut those off. So I'm going to cut this down to about 3 or 4 inches once I get in here. And yeah, try to keep that under control. Look at the phlox is blooming beautifully. This area right here, those are their dark, dark purple early blooming irises. They're super thick here. I'm going to yank these out. I've got plenty everywhere else, but I want to put a planter there or a pot and put another rose. So that's my idea for right there. I would plant it in the ground, but this area is just like a lot of rock, which may deter the gophers, but I would probably do better with a raised planter, raised bed, and or a pot. I think maybe, oh, you know what? I have some cedar fence boards. I can build a raised bed to put there. Look at this. This is my wedding candles verbascum. Reseeded itself right here all by itself. Doing gorgeous. I did not know this thing would reseed so much because my Southern Charm just hasn't. But this one is wedding candles. It grew up from seed. There's another area that it came up. And I had a pink one come up in the artist garden bed, and it's already bloomed out, cut it back, hasn't rebloomed. This is the Bushy Boy Veronica. I have some here. I divided it last year and put it around the garden in areas because it was getting too bulky, and it has just been tremendous. This keeps blooming all summer, better than any other Veronica I have tried. But yes, so this one I think I'm going to divide again and put some in the artist garden. Look at my crocosmias. I love those. Doesn't it look good with the Bushy Boy? So yep, July is a beautiful time in the garden. The Sweet Williams, I'm letting them go to seed so they can fill in more. I've been trying to weed in this area. I don't know what else I want to put in here, but I want to put it something that has color earlier. You see how after the iris were done, it's kind of not full of bloom. But yeah, the roses. This is my Daisy May Shasta Daisy, starting to bloom. This is Perfectly Picasso. This is also another wonderful Veronica. If you can find it to put in your garden, it does have a long bloom time and reblooms easily with deadheading. My Wave petunias. I have one in that barrel and one in that barrel over there. And look at my Eden Rose. It hasn't bloomed as prolifically this year as it usually does, but we had a very strange spring. But it's starting to rebloom. I've been deadheading. And then, of course, the beautiful Clematis. I'll put the name up once I remember it. Etoile de Violet. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, I have to get in there and stake up my delphinium. Look at us leaning over. I'm very late in getting that done. It's not as thick this year as it normally is, so I'm going to have to investigate. Maybe the gophers are up there. I don't know. Okay, try not to make this too lengthy. Yeah, I have been trying to get out here like I do. I only garden in small increments of time usually, and if I can spend a day, that's a huge treat. Like Saturday, this last Saturday, July 3rd, I got to spend most of the day out in the garden. Another Daisy May. Daisy, there's some crazy daisies up there. Anyways, so this garden is never picture perfect. I'm sorry if I'm getting sun flare. Look at this Sahara mix, Rebecca. This one's I grew from seed. I've loved all of these. I've got more to get in the ground. So here is my threadleaf coreopsis. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. It's such a mellow yellow. I was afraid it would be garish. This is some of the feverfew, and it seems to be leaning too far forward. I'll cut that back hard, and it will then no longer be flopping. And it'll grow back and rebloom. More Veronica. I've been trying to get some more things planted in this upper bed. And yeah, so I've been trying to get the drip attached with the misters because I only have the one line at the back and it doesn't reach forward. So the misters will help fix that. Look at my Mystic Spires salvia. I've got a video coming up soon all about salvia. I'm going to get up here so you can see this beautiful rose. This is Crazy Love. This was a mistake sent to me by Heirloom Roses, and I fell in love with it, and it blooms and blooms. This is my Arbor Rose, and it just fell apart. This is Tangerine Skies, and that was such a beautiful tangerine color. I wish I would have got a better video of it. I did this video earlier. Did I say that already? Yes, I did. And it was much too long. So I will save that for my own records and then try to get through this one fairly quickly. Look at that hot raspberry butterfly bush. It's supposed to stay a little bit shorter than my other one. My other one is having a time recovering this year for some reason. My pink dogwood, this has better leafage this year. It looks like it's drooping a little bit. I need to maybe give it some more water. I just got done watering it, so I'll check it. Anyways, I was going to pull it out because it has borers, but I treated it, and supposedly borers are impossible to get rid of, but it seems to be recovering, so I'm going to give it another try. This is my Southern Charm verbascum, which has never reseeded like the other one. I keep letting it go to seed, thinking it will, but it just doesn't. So my echinacea, I have it in a pot sitting here because I was debating to put it in the ground. I have to protect it. The gophers love the echinaceas in my garden. And my Bengali tree rose, which I'm going to prune back hard so it doesn't have such long canes. But that was a bargain off the bargain rack at Lowe's. Now this penstemon, I love the penstemon. Look at the beautiful flowers. But this one wants to flop terribly. It has very weak stems. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Maybe I need to put it in a different spot and it won't be quite so floppy. I'm just not sure what to do with it, unless I make a pretty frame that holds it up. But yes, this phlox got a good haircut and will rebloom. This is another pretty Picasso, pink Picasso. What did I say it was? Oh. Anyways, that's another of the Veronicas. This is where the Gaillardia was dug up from to put in the artist's garden. You can see this patch here is one that needs some work. So when I get to it, I get to it. And here's the Gaillardia in this bed. The sun's coming through. I was trying to get out here sooner. This phlox is beginning to bloom. It's later blooming than the one prior, but it is beautiful. It gets taller than I thought it would, but that's okay. So here is perfectly Picasso. That's what it is. See my shadow? Anyways, that's another one. I put it some over here. I started dividing and placing more perennials around the garden. Here is, this is one of my thymes. I have several thymes. This is creeping thyme, and it has the really pretty magenta flowers. I want to put this in the back too. Throughout the garden, oh, this is one of my Salvia gregii. You notice it's much different than the Mystic Spires, but there's like over 1,000 different varieties of salvias. Anyways, as I was saying, I've been transplanting things that do super well in my garden, and you only find that with trial and error. My Eden Rose along the fence. This has been trained along the fence 3 or 4 years, and I just love how it looks. It's been getting ready to bloom again after the first initial bloom. Take a look this direction. The penstemon over there, I failed to show that penstemon in the background. Does beautifully. This one is more sturdy. You notice how it doesn't flop like the other one, and I don't have this one supported yet. I have a few things that are canes or stems. See, that one down there is fallen down, but I'll just prune that back. This one seems to bloom most of the summer once it starts, so that one's definitely a winner in my garden. I have another one over in the other bed. Oh, look, my cannas. I didn't think they would make it. They're in a pot there. Those are doing great. So, yeah. Let me show you that other penstemon. I'm sorry, I'm retracing my steps because I'm getting in too much of a hurry. Too much of a hurry. I got into showing you that rose. That's what it was. But this is the penstemon. One of them I started from seeds. And I think it's a butterfly mix or something from Renee Garden Seeds. Yeah, I think that's the only one I have at the moment. But here, this Monarda is still going. which is great. Loving it. Okay, I think I got different things, different salvias. That's another salvia gregii, like the one I showed you in the other bed. You see what a different color that is? I had some that were a darker purple, and they don't seem to be blooming yet, but... And the one that convinced me to get more, let me go slowly over here, turn around, was this one. This was the original one I had planted, and it just blooms and blooms and blooms all summer long. I usually don't have to deadhead it. I could, but I don't have to. Oh, look at this. Is also from my Sahara mix, Rudbeckia. So you get a variety of colors with that. All right, so here we go up. We'll go around the outside edge. I had cleaned up all the edges around my garden, and then when I was out here, I took a few minutes yesterday and I started weeding again and chopping back, and I didn't have time to clean up. So I've got, after clean up, then I have to redo it. Okay, see this one, this delphinium's leaning way over, but look how pretty. Hopefully I can get it staked up without snapping the stem. Definitely need to deadhead this rose. This was a cutting that I got at the Rose Society the winter before. I didn't get to go this year, so. Anyways, this is my woolly time. It's looking a little ragged out here where it's gotten dry, but it's all good. This area of the drip doesn't really get enough. So that's why my Gomphrena here, you see this one compared to this one? Yeah, these others haven't been getting the amount of water they need. This is a hot, dry, sandy spot, so I need to either fix my misters or try something else here. Look at this larkspur, isn't it beautiful? That was a volunteer. This yarrow I let stay for now. It will probably come out. I want to put something shorter along here. Some volunteer daisies. My Shasta daisies come up everywhere and do beautifully. That right there is my pineapple sage. And when it blooms, it's a really pretty red bloom. That will get pretty tall and big. Some more Mystic Spire salvia. This I have dotted throughout the garden because it does super well for me and comes back every year. This was a little piece of a root of a rose I dug up from there, and a new rose grew. So yeah, that's the beauty of own root roses. You'll get the beautiful roses that you dug up. If you decide to move them and leave a piece of root and they come up, it'll be the same rose. Stop. So here is my Elkie hardy geranium. This needs a good prune back. I'm going to do that on video for you to show you how it's done and how easy it is. And it will keep it more shorter, mounding, and it will re-bloom. Look at this salvia. This is the most gorgeous salvia. I'm going to take cuttings of it. Not salvia, I'm sorry, sedum. And dot more of it around. I have some more in the back that I took from pieces of this one. And yeah, I just cleared out this area. Look at all the foxgloves that came up from the seeds of one that was here. Here's another Nepeta. This is my junior walker, I do believe, and I've pruned back some of it, and it will keep blooming, and it'll keep it shorter if I keep deadheading and pruning it back. Look at these. The gopher holes are just everywhere. So I got to get out here and spray these beds so that it will deter them. All it does is it irritates their skin, supposedly, or they don't like the smell, so it runs them out, and I'm going to have to do something. My lavender, these are dwarf lavenders. I don't have a specific name. I just know when I bought them, it said they were dwarf, and they didn't usually get more than 18 inches. Usually a foot tall. This bed is in the process of being revamped. I was going to get ahead of the game. I wanted to continue Rose Alley up into here, and so I wanted some more roses in here. Look at the verbascum. Look at that. The wedding candles verbascum reseeded in here and just beautiful. This, I think, is a Nepeta that is, I'm not sure if it's the, yeah, it's a Nepeta. I had a really large one, catmint, and it was like 6 feet tall, and I found seedlings everywhere. It could have been a seedling from that. I thought maybe this was an Agastache I had moved, so that's why I haven't dug it out, because I'm not certain. I'm waiting for it to flower but it smells like my Nepeta, so I'm not sure. Anyways, more. This is Rebecca that has propagated itself, reseeded itself. You see these ones with the red centers? People ask me what the name is, and I do not know, because all of mine have cross-pollinated, and what comes up is the result of the cross-pollination between my pure yellow. I had cappuccino one year. Yeah, so all of these volunteers are just a mix of many that I've had in my garden, and that's what it is. So here's another thyme. This one is Silver Queen. I'm really into the creeping thymes. I have the lime thyme, which we bypassed. It's looking a little rough, but it is all good. Then this is my chartreuse on the loose Nepeta. It has already put out some seedlings. I just planted that last summer, and I thought this was just a stem that had fallen down, but it's not. It's a whole new plant. So I'm going to dig up those and put them around. I got it for the chartreuse foliage, and I'm loving it. So yeah, feverfew. This is some of my doubles. This comes up, reseeds itself readily. I just edit where I don't want it. Many times I will cut it back hard, and then it comes back shorter. This is an area I'm working on. I got to get a new irrigation hose running across there. This is filling in for now, so that's why the mess is there. And you can see the squirrels eating that sugar pine cone. So my pink wave petunias, I meant to dig this barrel out, move it, because I wanted that Rose Alley to continue up this way, like have an arbor here. I forgot when I put the petunias in there. This is my grandmother's hat rose. It's a vintage rose. It's the same one that I showed you up there that came back. This is the one I dug up, and now I'm training it up this little trellis. Also have John Davis or Davies on here. So that's another beautiful pink rose. That's my Lady of Shalott. It seems to be struggling, so I don't know if I need to feed it more. It looks like it's got a little bit of chlorosis, so I probably should dump some compost in there, give it a good feed with my organic fertilizer from, let's see, it's Organic Rev is what I call it. The Organic Rev is actually their other product, which is a root stimulant, but yeah. So get those in there, and I want to show you something really quick. You see that viola in there? That thing is 3 feet tall. Have you ever seen a viola get that tall? It was growing up there to get some sun, and it was determined. All right, anyways, I was going to say I was going to put another arbor like these over there. To continue Rose Alley, you'd go across the sidewalk and up here. I still may do that, or I may just put shrub roses in there and then stuff around it. So this is a beautiful ground cover, Lithidora, yeah. And it has those beautiful blue, vibrant blue flowers. The first bloom is always the best, but it keeps sporadically blooming those beautiful flowers. This is the path that has been riddled with gophers. Forgive the debris in it. So we'll go down that in a minute. I want to take you down the outside edge. Another barrel of the pink wave petunias. I finally got this yarrow propped up. It was starting to flop. Another hardy geranium that I need to cut back. It's starting to climb up the plants and I want it to stay a tidy mound here. So I'll just cut it back. Again, I said I'd bring you along when I do that. More of the daisies. Back there is my Bosco Bell roses. I started clearing out all the excess plants that had reseeded in here. I am cutting back this daisy as well because it's obscuring the rose from visibility. And here's some volunteer Rudbeckias that I just let come up. Now, when I leave my daisies and Rudbeckias along the road like this is the main thoroughfare for deer. And they seem to not like them. I don't know if it's because they're bigger, because a lot of people say they eat mine, and I'm like, well, your deer like them, my deer don't. But look at this. This is why I love crazy daisies. Look at that fluffiness, beautiful white fluffiness. Anyways, but as long as I leave them up, the deer don't eat my roses. So even when they start dying back, I am very careful with how much I cut them back, because it's like a deer protective hedge here in my garden. Many of these are volunteer, the daisies. Now, the peonies in here, they need to get moved, and I am going to move them probably this fall. Hopefully, I will have time. Now that foxglove, I let go to seed. The bottom seed pods have opened. That's enough for me. I'm just going to pull that out. And then once I've trimmed back these peonies and get them ready to be moved this fall, you'll be able to see my roses easier. This is Tiny Monster Hardy Geranium. I did prune it back with the weed eater along the road. I'm pretty, nonchalant about just weed whacking it back. This is a very that prolific bloomer, and you can see it will swamp plants if I let it. I can get in and cut those out if they start to overtake things. Here's some daisy. These daisies are probably nearly 4 feet tall. So over here, they're beginning to flop. I will just cut these back, because you see it's such a big, big patch. So over here, I've been cleaning out. This is my snowball viburnum. I want to put a tree stake here near it and prop it up, because when we get snow, it starts to make it flop. And I want to train this into a tree form. So staking it up will do the trick. So I was thinking of putting another rose in here. Just have to do it in a protective cage. This down here has been a catch-all for different things. I've thrown different irises down here that were extras. Just let seeded plants or free-seeded or seeded themselves, self-volunteer, whatever you want to call them, plants. And then I had put these, I know what they are and it's escaping me at the moment, but this is a germander. I've never grown it before. Now these were struggling because they were getting absolutely no water. So I put in a mister. And then down here is my Patricia hardy geranium. This is a piece from one that's up further. Now this area right here is going to be revamped. I'm just letting it do its thing right now because I don't have time to tackle it, but it will get better. It will get addressed. My garden is for my enjoyment. As I can get to it, I never let it stress me and never think, oh, I'm behind. All of that. Here's one of my Hyde Hall roses in there, which I need to thin out the feverfew around it, and maybe some of that yarrow, just because I want the rose to shine through as far as visibility, and it's being slightly obscured. I have some red Monarda in here that I'm probably going to pull out. I've got plenty up above, and the not hardy phlox, but the native phlox back there will be blooming soon. I don't want too many things competing for attention, so that's when I edit. Now, you want to see how my arbor, that's from the snow, that leaning, so we have to stake that up. So next winter, which we're supposed to have a pretty hairy winter, we'll see if it's true, it won't make it topple over. But yeah, this is my Super Dorothy miniature rose. This is Raspberry Cream Twirl, which it has like a raspberry red and a cream color bicolor bloom. Here's another yarrow, but you see I need to stake it up. Now, in my yarrow video, I told you if it gets too much water, this could be the result, and or leaning for the sun. So it could be a combination of those things. So I just stake them up and get the most from them. This is my Arbor Rose, Kiss Me Kate. I just planted it here this spring. I dug it up from over where the chicken house was, put it here, but the Arbor Rose series of climbing roses have been absolute stellar growers in my garden, tough as nails, and they bloom all summer. So it's getting going, but you know what? There's already a bloom. I did pull out that New Dawn. It just was not doing it for me. I didn't like the flower form. I didn't like the colors of the blooms. And this one is Jacqueline Dupree. It's a single. It's a vintage rose. And it's white and it has the red anthers in the middle. Really pretty. I think it'll go well with the Kiss Me Kate, as well as I have my Princess Kate clematis doing very, very well. I had to be very careful in digging up that rose so that I did not disturb my clematis. So this area, I'm thinking of putting another rose, a bush rose. And there's my Bosco bells. I have 2 in there. And I'm keeping a close eye on them because the gophers have eaten them almost to death before. So I didn't put them in a cage. I got in a hurry. Here's another one of my bushy boys. So it's doing beautiful. Some crocosmias in there. There's not as many as there were. I must have dug some out. I was thinking about it last fall, and I can't remember if I did. This is a carpet rose. And this is Apple Blossom. And look how beautiful. This thing just blooms and blooms and blooms all summer. I put it up on the obelisk there so you could see it. If it was laying on the ground, it would be covering here. Not that I mind that. It's just that I wanted to make it even more visible closer up. These are my boxwoods that I started from cuttings. And I have some starting to line this pathway. The gopher pathway, they love this miniature clover. They come in here, and you can see if you watch my video from early June, you'll see this pathway is almost completely green. And look at how it is now. Not only have they been eating the roots, they have made this level path into a minefield of holes. And then you see that there's all these dips. You have to be very careful you don't twist your ankle right now. So I'm going to fill it back in with compost. And I've been spraying. They seem to have been, it seems to have deterred them because I haven't had any fresh holes here since spraying the castor oil and soap mix. And yeah, so I need to level it back out, and then maybe I can let the clover fill back in. Other than that, I'm just going to lay down mulch if I find that having the clover here proves to be more problematic in attracting the gophers. So my Nepeta is looking like it needs a good haircut, but it still has pretty blooms on it. It still attracts pollinators, so I kind of hated to cut it all the way back. So sometimes I come in and I cut half back and then leave half the flowers, and then the other part resprouts more blooms, etc. And then it goes on and on. Some more phlox. I had dug this phlox out of here, and the little piece I left came back from the root. So I'm letting it stay. This is I think it's White Wands Veronica. I'm not sure I love this plant because half the times it looks so messy. And not that I'm that particular, but it just isn't bringing me joy. So I may transplant it to an area I care less about, like down on the hillside down there where I have all the extra plants. Maybe it'll do better. This is a beautiful salvia. This is another form of Nemorosa salvia. And yeah, my prime time hydrangea paniculata, I haven't been thrilled with it. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll give it time. Sometimes it just takes them a while to really come into their own and then bring me joy. So these Rudbeckias are going to come out. This is supposed to be primarily pink, purples, blues in here. It's the theme I wanted to go with. So the yellow doesn't fit in. I just haven't gotten to that yet. So my two climbers on here, Awakening, which is actually a sport of New Dawn. It looks like I need to deadhead this one. It really holds its blooms beautifully, and I do like it. And then Rural England, which has all these beautiful little miniature pink roses in big clusters. And yeah, I need to deadhead. My Jackmanii clematis is done blooming. This is like my second year with this one, so I don't know if it'll rebloom like my others do. Look at this is another arbor rose. This one's Quicksilver. And it's a beautiful lavender. I didn't cut any of it hard back, so usually I do, and these lower stems will bloom. I didn't this last year, so next year I'll be sure to do that. Look at this, another one. Look at that cluster of blooms. They bloom all summer. And my Gertrude Jekyll also I didn't cut back. If we look up, you can see some blooms up there. But I need to give it a good haircut. And yeah, we'll get some blooms lower down. Filling a barrel there. I think I'll put in another rose. That way, if it's in that barrel, I don't have to worry about the gophers eating it. My Jubilee Celebration. One of my favorite David Austin roses. And you can see why. Look at all the buds. This one is a true continuous bloomer, meaning all summer it is almost never without flowers. Always has flowers. My Love Song is looking a little tattered and tired there. Need to do some deadheading. I have Violet's Pride down in there too. The red Monarda I may pull out of there. I have plenty up above, and yeah, I'm not sure I want it there. So that's going to be a decision to make later. I could just cut it back and see what I think of without it just being cut back, and then I can pull it out if I decide I want it gone. Here, I do not know what that hollyhock is, what color. It's going to be a surprise because that was a self-seeder. I'm trying not to miss anything. See, here's more of the Nepeta. This is Cat's Pajamas. I love Cat's Pajamas. It's one of my favorites because it keeps blooming. It stays shorter. All of the above. Now, you see how it's splaying a little bit? That's because of the misters getting on it and weighing it down. Other than that, it usually stays pretty upright. Another of the Wedding Candles Verbascum. I didn't plant this here, but look. The bees absolutely love it. So yeah, another, now this is Agastaki. Let me smell it. No, totally different. So that other thing is catmint. Anyways, there's another tiny monster, hardy geranium. So this is my Zephyrin Druin rose. Let me see if I can get that sunflower out of there. And then Warsaw Nike is on there with it. And then also I have Pretty in Pink Eden rose. And I just pruned that back, so it should be reblooming soon. Now this rose is Ballerina on this arbor. I am going to dig this one out, and I have Pompon to put here, which is a bigger flowering. This one, Ballerina, I don't know, hasn't been doing it for me here. So that's why I'm going to change it out. I'm going to put this one somewhere else. I do love the pretty little blossoms, but not here. So that's going to get moved. And that's just part of, finding what you love in your garden and going with it. Look at this is Charlie Brown clematis. This is another clematis that blooms and blooms and blooms all summer long. I do deadhead it. And I'm going to back up here for a minute. I forgot to show you. Let me see if Arabella, oh, yep, there's Arabella. This is another continuous blooming clematis. This one is on this arbor with these, with the New Dawn, not New Dawn, but the Rural England and the Awakening rose. And it just brings color, a contrasting color to the arbor there. This one is Joanne's Pink Perpetual. And on there too is my Jasmina climbing arbor rose, another arbor rose. I mentioned it earlier. I have almost every one of them that arbor rose has. There's a collection of them. And the only one I don't have right now is Honeymoon. I had it and it died on me because spider mites got it and I didn't catch them soon enough. There's a volunteer larkspur in there. Look at that beautiful love song rosebud. So yeah, this area had a huge daisy in. I put down a thick mulch of alfalfa hay, and I haven't figured out what I want to do there yet. I need to thin out these iris. Haven't got there yet. Always a work in progress. Here is my dwarf yarrow. Oh, over here is Excelsia rose. Look at that. I have a new one that's similar in color, and it's called Mini Haha, and I hope to get it going. It's a vintage rose as well. So in here is my Crown Princess Margareta. I think I need to give it a good hard prune. It will rebloom. So this is all part of Rose Alley through here. There's my Warsaw Nike, still blooming. I've been deadheading down here. It will rebloom sporadically, not as big as the first bloom. This is my Grandpa Newt rose. And then this one down here is Florentina. This is another arbor rose, climbing rose. Look at the difference in color. One's more raspberry and one's a deeper red. But that Florentina is very vigorous. I got these big canes here I need to tie in. Let me turn around. I have a lavender here. Bees are loving it. This phlox is struggling. I just planted it here, so I need to pamper it a little bit more. This is another verbascum. This is a yellow one. And then over here, my miniature roses. These are the Sunblaze roses. This is the salmon. Over there is my dragon fruit. I just deadheaded it. I can see buds all over it. Look at these poppies. These are volunteers. They're growing out of this rock wall. Let me get up here without falling or grabbing a rose bush. Look at those. Aren't they gorgeous? I love the seed pods too. So this area I was cleaning out this past weekend. I left these standing because I wanted to see at my video, see which ones was which color before I moved them. And once I clean those up, this will look much better in here. Oh, I should walk along this wall and show you what's over here without stepping on anything. Got some snapdragons in here. This is my rose campion, but this one's called Oculata, which they're real white with a pink center. The delphinium's taking its time. It's usually much bigger by now. So maybe the gophers have been getting it. This is my Sir Isaac Perrier, something like that. Madame Isaac Perrier rose, vintage rose. I just deadheaded it. I'm trying to get it to go up this arbor. It was struggling, and now it's doing better. But I do need to thin out the iris in there. I'm letting these go to seed, these snapdragons, so they'll fill in. And here's the other side where I said I was going to put that rose. So let me step down over here without killing myself. So yeah, oops, let me this up. I put a tomato plant in there. I had extras. I couldn't stand to kill them, so I plopped them in wherever I could. So this area clean up my shadows in there. But it looks so much better after the cleanup I did here. my Aloha Rose. I need to get a stake to stake to this trellis, and then this will climb up that. And then I had some spare roses. I don't know what they were, but they sure are pretty. They could be cuttings I took from others. Yeah, this one over here is my Noble Antony, which is a peachy color, and it's just coming back into bud after getting deadheaded. So my Demi-Tasse, this is a nice, pretty miniature rose, and it blooms all summer long. So this is another one of my crazy daisies. See how different they are? This one has the long, drapey petals, thin, skinny petals. I had one that had short, stocky petals, and I don't seem to be able to find it, so I must have pulled it out inadvertently when I pulled out others. Here I put in one of my Zahara Mix Rudbeckias. There's a Delphinium. I just planted this barrel full of these red geraniums. I wanted to fill something, a bright spot of color. This is a quarter whiskey barrel, wine barrel. Yep, all kinds of fun stuff going on. Let's head to the secret cottage garden. So this is one of the roses I'm going to plant. So right here is my Bridal Veil hydrangea. Love this thing. I got it in a super little tiny pot, plopped it in this barrel, and it loves it here. And this thing is just a performer. It's just gorgeous. I'm loving it. My camera's getting a little hot. I might have to pause here. But I transplanted this Testuberville. It used to be in the barrels up where the pink wave petunias are. And I transplanted it back here because I wanted this arbor to be the entrance to the secret cottage garden. It's leaning too because of the snow. We'll have to stake it up. So anyways, I weed-eated the pathway, and this path, I wanted like the creeping thyme to fill in here, whatever. I haven't been successful in getting it to do so. I'm not sure what's wrong. Maybe if I put it in here in the fall, through the winter it can get going, but this fills in so much with weeds that I was rethinking it, maybe considering just doing the bark path. And then maybe along the edges, I could do the creeping thyme. So we'll see how that works. I don't know. My pink petunias, these are just regular morning sun petunias. Anyways, I want them to fill in. I need to feed them. This soil, it needs some help. But look at the Coco Loco roses in the center. They're just in this tub. There's 2 of them, and they have just been tremendous. I do keep them well fed because they are in a container. But yeah, here's the golden sage I planted here. It should fill in. It'll look like that after a year or 2. This tree rose was looking pretty barren. It was gotten too dried out, and then I gave it a good prune, a feed, and some consistent watering, and it has recovered. It's the same as this one. So that is the area I wanted to set up my table and chairs, my bistro set. And I wanted this moved to kind of put maybe an arbor here over it. We'll see what happens. I may just get an umbrella and put up. So over here is all my cone flowers. So far the gophers have left them alone. There is a wire mesh underneath there, but it's not that they couldn't come on top of that, but so far they haven't. So that hydrangea over there. I'm going to put this heucheras in here. This is usually shady. It gets morning sun, afternoon shade. My hosta garden is going ballistic. Love it. So yeah. Over here, I am not sure what happened to that rose. Look at that. Now that cane over there is fine, but this one in the middle, I'm going to have to cut that out and hope it recovers. This is the Elsa Spaeth clematis. When I moved it, I snapped it off and I thought, oh no, I killed it, but now it's coming back from the root. So yeah, that is one that was, that one is Sharifa Asma, and I had lost the 3 mother plants I had. I had trimmed them back, threw it in the compost bin, and then when the spring came and I was digging out the compost bin, this had rooted. One of the trimmings had rooted. I planted it, so now I still have it. It's never been a big rose, but it's taking off and doing okay. So I have some Asiatic lilies. That is a Verbena bonariensis that has reseeded there. This is my firefighter rose. This is my Junior Walker Nepeta with some of the white wands Veronica in there. You see how it just never looks full of white flowers? Yeah, I'm just not sure about that. So I've been kind of weeding this area out. I don't know what I'm going to put in here. This last year was filled with alyssum. It did not reseed this year. It usually reseeds itself. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen. That's another Daisy May daisy plopped in there. That's my fairy rose. I have another one over there in Rose Alley. This is another Elke hardy geranium. This is a division of the one that was up in front. I have a video on how to divide hardy geraniums. If I think about it, I'll link it in the box. There's some of the iris I was yanking up. Yeah, over here, this bed is all getting filled in. This is where I had the raised bed that got smashed by the tree. And then I pulled that up and I started replanting. Look at the Gumfrina. See how much better this Gumfrina is doing? It's the same batch that I seeded. Let me see if I can get it over here. That looked pretty paltry up front. That I said I needed to do something different up there. And look how much healthier these ones are. So it goes to show that, you know, the right treatment, you'll get better flowers. So my purple Rooster Menard is kind of leaning forward and obscuring these plants down here. So I need to prop it up or cut those back. If I cut them back, they will rebloom shorter. So that could be the option, the best option, rather than trying to stake them up. But some more crazy daisies back there doing beautifully. I put some of the Verbena bonariensis back here. There's a dahlia getting ready to open up. It is in a big pot. Save it from the gophers. Here's some more Sahara mix Rudbeckias. Yeah. This is another Coreopsis, threadleaf Coreopsis. I can't wait to see that one bloom. This is an Echinacea. It's got really pretty flowers. And that is another Nepeta. That one is Summer Romance, Summer something, and that one too. It was real big and floppy, and I just shared it back, and look, it's just blooming beautifully shorter. So, perfect. Dusky Maidens Delphinium. This is from New Zealand, Delphiniums. Volunteer Larkspur. I pruned back my iceberg rose dramatically. It was going crazy over the top of the arbor, and it was just too ratty looking. So I gave it a hard prune, and now it's blooming beautifully again. More sedate. So over here, I need to tie this one up. This is a lavender delphinium from the New Zealand delphiniums. I grew it from seed. This is my Aglaya daisy. It's very shaggy, but also it's very floppy, so I had to prop it up. Very floppy. You never can get it to hold up on its own. This is another one of that bushy boy Veronica. Look how gorgeous it is. So this is, I had one plant, and I think now I have 4 or 5 from it. This is Mystic Spire Salvia. This one does overwinter for me just beautifully. And also I keep some in the greenhouse all winter just in case we have our super hard freeze and it kills it. Look at my batch. This is milkweed. This is all for the monarchs. I'm hoping they come through this year. So we'll see what we get. This is some trumpet lilies. I need more lilies. I need more oriental lilies, more trumpet lilies in my garden. So yeah, here's the view from here. Nicotiana, I grew those from seed. My Japanese maple I thought I had lost when the tree snapped it off. The other tree that fell. This needs to be deadheaded. And this is a teeny tiny Annabelle hydrangea. That is the newer one that is supposed to not flop. So we'll see how that goes. My lemony lace elderberry is doing great this year. Last year, mid-July, it started looking ratty. I know what to do this year. I'm going to cut that thing back hard if it starts looking ratty again. Look at my climbing zucchinis by the chicken pen. I planted these here so they could climb up and provide the shade so I can get rid of that ugly cloth there. That is shading the chickens when the sun goes low in the sky. But this one accidentally snapped. So I have to, I'm just leaving that there so it continues to climb up the trellis. But this one's doing great. One is Trombosino and that one's Excelsior. And then down here is my cucumber. And that is the Persian cucumber, the little ones. Roses that need to find a home in my garden. Here's the veggie patch over here. So I just planted, this is Mamie Brown. It's a vintage burpee variety. And I picked it up at the dollar store and I thought, oh, I'll try that one. And then I forgot about it in the greenhouse. And so now it's getting a late start. But here is, this is one of my favorites. This is Camp Joy. It's not really a cherry tomato. It's more like the size of a ping pong ball, but it's beautiful. It's delicious. Everybody that I have given a plant to that absolutely loves sun gold, they transferred their allegiance to this one. They said this one was much better. And I have to agree. Sun gold, the skins can be tough. They split easy. This one's Super Sweet 100. That is one of my favorite cherry tomatoes. Never fails to produce. I'm going to have to put a bigger stake up. I knew these cages were too short, but I just grabbed what I had on hand. This is my early girl. Got tomatoes in there. And this one over here, Celebrity. Celebrity is a shorty, bushy type. It's supposed to be determinate, however you pronounce that. But I've got some tomatoes down in there. You can't really see them. Some peppers. And look at this dahlia. This little pink one has just been blooming and blooming. Absolutely love it. I don't know what this color is because when I yanked them up last year out of the ground, I didn't mark them. Oh my word. So frustrating. Something's been digging in here. These are my shishito peppers. I had another one right there. Looks like it dug it up. Oh, it just frustrates me when those animals get in here and dig things up. So over here I have another dahlia, some sunflowers, another climbing zucchini, and that's my GMO purple tomato that was spliced or cross, whatever, genetically modified with a snapdragon, but it is good and going. My romaine lettuce is bolting, so I need to pull that up and feed it to my chickens. They'll love that. I wouldn't eat it myself because it's probably bitter, but all the others we did get to eat before that. So that, my friends, is basically the garden this first week of July. Look at that larkspur. This is my Sweet Romance lavender. I just planted that Angelina sedum in there. And hopefully it takes. I just threw it down there on the ground and threw some compost on top and hope it takes. The James Galway rose I put in there. Look at my sweet peas. This sweet pea has been blooming and blooming. Oh, I need to cut this off so it doesn't put the energy into that. But yeah, I think I should put some more sweet peas down in there. And then over here to the greenhouse. Need to go in here and do my rose video. I've done it a couple times and both times I hated it. So I need to do it again. All right, that's it, my friends. So let's just have a little chat really quick. Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention today was our other company. We have landed a project that's pretty big. And so it may mean fewer videos of my garden stuff, but I still will be here. And it will be my outlet because being chained to a desk doing bookwork is not my idea of a lot of fun, and my garden is my way of getting away from that. But this is something that is great. My husband, no. So I hope you enjoyed this garden tour. I will be on back with more. I usually do these garden tours about every 2 weeks just to give an idea. Actually, it's my record of the garden, what's going on when. I'm always surprised at how the garden reacts differently each year. The weather this spring was very strange for this area, and we've had a very cool June. We had 1 week of warm weather, and then it's been super cool, like even down into the 40s at night. So barely in the 70s during the day. So it's warming back up. We're supposed to be in the 80s, more July-like for us. Mid 80s, almost 90. Night times near 60. Yeah, and then August, usually the night times start dipping back into the 50s again. So anyways, just a very strange year. And I'm trying to soak up as much as the garden as I can before winter, because we're supposed to be hit with a lot of precipitation, and knowing my luck, it'll be snow. So I know, I love where I live, but I'm not a fan of snow. So only because it's so damaging here. It's not the fluffy, light, pretty stuff that just comes and goes. We get really heavy wet snows that get deep, and they are a pain to shovel. And yeah, it is just not fun. So anyways, it is what it is. Do you hear the bird? I think that's, this morning I was listening, I think that's the spotted towhee. I have a Merlin app. If you want to know what the bird songs are around you, get the Merlin app, Merlin. And it is so interesting, the things it could tell you. So I will see you in my next video.